So excited for this episode. Welcome to another edition of Vigorously, where we chat with the bands and we have a lot of fun with the bands. Another band we're going to have some fun with is Blood of Angels in the building today. Gentlemen, how are you? Welcome.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Doing great.
I'm thrilled that you're here. I want to talk a lot about all the things. I want to talk firstly about the drinking clips that I have seen on it's a little bit of pre-gaming before showtime is what I'm getting. That's the vibe that I'm getting from this, and I love the variety. The variety in what I'm seeing. Like we're not doing just beer. We're doing mixed drinks. We're doing a little bit of iced tea. We are doing beer too. But
everywhere we go, there's something for that area, and it's kind of like going to restaurants, and it's like, oh, this place is like New Orleans. You got to have the etouffee or the gumbo.
Okay.
Yeah. So wherever we go, we try to do what's for that area.
Okay, got it. So it's really about getting a feel for what's going on, getting a feel for the community.
Experience.
Basically, the people that we're going to perform for in the places that we travel to, and to understand their culture as much as one can, in usually only about a 10 to 12 hour period, which is as much as we normally have.
Well, right, because then it's on to the next. I've been hearing all the stories about this. So give me the Floridian version of this though. The Floridian drink, or getting a taste for the culture. What do we need to drink to get a taste for Florida?
I'd say rum is probably, I would say, the main.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at it, like Miami is one of the quarters of the Bermuda Triangle, even though we're north of it. But I mean, that is one of the corners of the Bermuda Triangle. But yeah, I mean, we're tropical, Caribbean feel. We do got a couple of great.
Right there.
Exactly. We do got a couple of great rum distilleries locally here.
Okay.
I'll give a shout out to Gasparilla Rum. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And it all harkens back to our piracy history and our Gasparilla annual pirate festival that's been going on for 123 years this year. Yeah.
Wow.
1903. Yeah. That's kind of our spin on Mardi Gras, our uniqueness here in Tampa.
Man, I'm jealous because I'm sitting in history class learning about like the Whiskey Rebellion and the Revolution because I'm from Pittsburgh originally. And I'm like, that's boring compared to pirates. I want that to be my local history. My God. But
yeah, I mean, Tampa at one time, especially during the 17th century, was a pirate port. I mean, and as we documented, that Anne Bonny and Mary Read and Cowboy Jack have used Tampa as a getaway port, while being chased by the British mostly. Because I mean, it was we were under the flag of Spain. Yeah, so they used Florida as a salvation as they attacked British and Dutch ships.
But yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. Anne Bonny is so badass too. I've heard.
Both those women.
Oh my God,
both those women are incredible.
They made movies about them. Come on.
Yes, for real. Okay, so now you're helping me understand that there's more to Florida than just where my head goes immediately is Skinner and beer drinking and Jacksonville. And like that.
Oh, there's that.
Not wrong, but not the entire story because we got to think Miami. We got to think about the rest of Florida too. That's what I'm learning. So thank you for that mini lesson. I love that.
No problem.
I think it's cool that you try to get a little bit of the culture as much as you can anyway when you're out and about. While we're traveling, I'm sure you're listening to some things, you're having these conversations, you're listening to music. What is a hill that you will die on musically?
Hill that I'll die on musically, like a musical opinion, or
yeah, like this is what it is. This is what I think, and I don't care what anybody else has to say.
All right, I'll go right. I mean, I'll go right. I mean, I'm sure my cohorts have a thing. If you use backing tracks to play your show, you're not a live band. You're a glorified karaoke act.
Oh, why is that a hot take anymore? I don't think it should be, but some might say it is.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, we played with quite a series of bands that have their inner ear monitors that are constantly clicked, and You know,
and have to have their laptop with their little pre-programmed little clicks or their music or.
And when the singer stops singing, tracks. You magically still hear vocals. You know, that's
it takes the human element out of it.
I mean, I think that's one of the I would say that just separates us from a lot of other bands, that our show and our songs are for better or for worse are completely 100% played by us.
Analog.
Yeah. The passion's obvious. Any other musical opinions before we move on? I want to make sure we get them all.
All music is self-expression, and I can't live a day without music.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough of a hill to die on, for sure.
Short circuit, I think.
Yeah, no, but it makes total sense. I have not talked to a musician that would say anything different, really. If you're in it, you're in it because you want to be there, you want to be present, you want to be engaged, and you can't picture yourself doing anything else.
Right.
And anybody creative, I think, would say the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So, who has control of the aux cord when we're going between shows and gets to choose what's playing?
Usually me, because I'm the driver.
Okay. All right, that's the rule.
Whoever's in the steering wheel. And also, I mean, on the road, it's mostly I keep it classic and southern rock.
Yeah.
You know, okay. I throw on the Leonard Skinner radio channel, and
or maybe some Motorhead sometimes.
Yeah, Motorhead, Slayer, but yeah. But a lot of times, especially like, I'm driving in the middle of the night, these guys are knocked out. I'm in the van, and man, I'll throw on Pink Floyd's The Wall and just, ride that, play that to the next best.
Yep, just zone out, drive on the highway. There we go. I completely get that. That is hilarious. Yeah. So, favorite crowd that you have ever played for so far?
Difficult to say. There's been a couple that are pretty much on the same level.
What was that place?
And that's really high up there in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But how it all runs together, like I can tell you about the event and all the details, but I couldn't tell you where it was and certain other details.
Well, now you reminded me. And definitely. Constanta, Romania.
Yeah.
Romania. Okay, give me details.
Yeah, Constanta, Romania. That, god damn, was that place insane and rocking. Yeah. The Rock Hall in Constanta, Romania. It's a beach town. You can tell it's still recovering from the area of communism, but it's right on the Black Sea. It was kind of cool though, because the next day after the show, before we moved on to Bulgaria, we went to the beach and just looking across the Black Sea, and it's like, oh, there's fucking Russia right there. It's like, wow. Yeah. And I'm thinking of all the Cold War stuff that happened, between American subs coming in and their merchant ships and us playing that cat and mouse game with the Soviet Union for, like roughly about 60, 70 years. But that crowd, oh my God, that was amazing.
It's one thing to see it for sure, because beaches are not the first thing that I think of when I think Romania. I think Dracula and like Transylvania. But
we did that too. That was fun. Yeah.
Really cool guy. We hung out.
No, but we did go to Dracula's castle.
Nice.
I got a picture with him, but you can't see him.
The flash kind of washed him out.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, and you're making the point that the history matters when it comes to getting to know your crowd too, wherever you are in the world, regardless, like understanding their history of, look, this is a group of people that have been through a lot centuries of being like conquered or under communism, or just there's been a lot, some form of oppression or another. So they're hungry, they're ready.
Very, very much so. And you could see, that since they've joined the European Union, like if you go in the capital city, Bucharest, I mean, it's a beautiful modern metropolis in a way, with these incredible, mostly glass buildings, and I mean, really a lot of modern architecture. Of course, they kept, some of the old communist apartment buildings, but their rebellion to that is that they're painting these beautiful murals, like right on the side of the apartment building, very, very colorful. Scenery, some depicting the actual history, some just beautiful nature scenes. It's really incredible. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that really got me, you brought up like the history. We talked about the history of the place. We played another great crowd, great show. We played also in Romania, Zalău, at the Rock and Roll Center. That was our first stop in Romania. And yeah, I got to talk to a gentleman, and currently he was the fire chief of that town. But back when he was a young man, he was a sergeant in the army, and he was there the time that the big protests happened in front of the palace in Bucharest when they dragged out Ceausescu, before they executed him a few days later. But yeah, he was telling me like he was there. He was a sergeant. He was in charge of that platoon that was guarding. There's hundreds of thousands of people and protesting and ready to be the end of communism, and the military is just there. And he was telling me like how he was dumbfounded, like they weren't getting orders. They didn't know what to do. It's like, do we protect the president in the castle? But to do that, we would be firing on our own people. No one in the military wanted to be fighting their own people just to protect the president. Do we just let the people in? And there was that time of what to do. And he was like a 25-year-old man at the time. Dealing with such a big decision of
at 25. Are you kidding?
I mean, I didn't sign up. I signed up to defend my country, not to go against my own people. But I got, but I'm ordered to protect the president. What do I do? And that was such an incredible conversation, and of perspective of that moment in history. That was a huge turning point for the country, and that man was a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of one of the things that I know, I speak for them too, that we really love, when we do go on the road and meet different people, in these moments.
Yeah, you're taking notes as it happens. You're getting to know people as you're out and about. I wonder if stories like that, where there's death involved and there's tragedy involved, that had to maybe come into the new album a little bit, or at least some of those discussions, some of that know-how, everything that you've learned. Is it fair to say that those types of stories bleed in a little bit sometimes
to the music that we write?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it does for sure. I mean, sadly, I mean, we had those. I think those experiences that we just discussed will definitely bleed in more to the next album because we already had this album done. When we went to Europe. So, I know the next concept album is, we're basically it's going to be based on revolution and ideas and different historical moments of different revolutions, that have happened throughout history, everything from our own in 1776, to the Battle of Hastings in 1066 when the Normans invaded, England, and the communist revolution, things like that, and the revolution, almost the bloodless revolution that came that, ended communism. Because, on this tour, we really got to see it. I think one of the things we had a great time. We went to the Terror Museum in Budapest, Hungary.
Oh yeah.
Whoa,
basically, it was like the switch from extreme right wing to extreme left wing because, they were conquered by the Nazis. And there were a lot of government officials there. Basically, I mean, in English, it translates like the arrows. That they were their own fascist, group that was affiliated with the Nazis that conquered. But then here comes Russia, at the end of the war, that basically, that comes in and eliminates Hungary from the fascists. But now, it's Joseph Stalin in 1945. So now they're under communism. So they go to the other extreme political side of oppression and torture, just in a different way from the Nazis.
Good God, these poor people.
So, I mean, basically, that whole country has spent, the entire last century going from one extreme oppression to the other extreme oppression. And that's what that museum was about. God, just what an incredible, humbling experience.
It's eye-opening.
One of the things that was amazing is that it was built on top of one of the prisons that was used during fascism, and then of course that they used to torture people. So at the end of the museum tour, you're inside, you're seeing the jail cells where they took political prisoners, democracy activists, things like that into to torture.
the water cell was pretty intense.
So a lot of that is going to be coming out. Originally not this next album, but definitely the one afterwards for sure.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't wait for
Yeah.
it all. Like I have so many follow-ups. So well, but one general one general thing that I want to ask though is like I know sometimes for anybody to visit somewhere like where you're talking about or the Holocaust Museum or anything similar.
Mhm.
I understand why that is off-putting to some people and some people just won't do it. However, I think you and I have this in common. We look at that as though it's important to attend places like that.
Education.
Very
So that
much.
we
Well, I
learn.
mean, also on that tour, we did go to Auschwitz.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
We
Okay.
did visit Auschwitz. Yeah, I mean, anybody wants to see it, got the photos online. I mean, walking underneath that, albeit mocked it free, work makes you free under that iron sign that you've seen. All of us have seen in so many World War II movies. It was personal for me because I mean, my aunt was taken there at 14,
Oh.
and yeah, she was from the south of France, and of course, she had a younger brother and sister. They were put to death, but she was a farm girl, so at 14 they put her on the workers' side, and she was only there for almost about 6 months before the camp was liberated. And then and then my family found her and brought her here, but yeah, so that was a personal trip for me.
It's coming up in this album. There's conversations about death. There's conversations about grief,
Mm-hmm.
and how we process it all. But I want to make sure we come correct. How do we accurately pronounce the name of this next album?
Les Agnst de Thanatou.
Les Agnst Thanatou. Is that Latin?
Well, yeah. I mean, you could go with the basis of that because it's I got creative with the album title.
Yeah.
Because I mean it translates to the fear of death. So I use lay, from France, angst, the German word of fear, of, the Scandinavian ov, and then I was looking finding a word for death, and what really flowed off the tongue was using the Greek word for death, Thanatos. So it's a blend of 4 different languages.
Okay, creative.
Maybe it's too much of a creative license. I don't know. We'll let the audience determine that, I guess. But
it's perfect. I'll figure it out.
But I don't know. I had a couple of friends when I showed it to them, and they looked at that are metalheads, and they're like, "Leon's the Thanatou. That's a really cool, and some of them got it, So
yeah, it sounds metal. So that assignment, check. Like, does it sound badass? Check. We checked that off the list.
I
Okay.
mean, I'll go with it. Well, I mean, Slayer called an album Diablos and Musica, so I'm using it in Spanish, so why not?
Good Lord. I know. I'd be a little afraid of like, did I get this accurate? Like the actual translation accurate? But in this case, it doesn't matter. It's a blend. But like in Slayer's case, they probably had Tom Araya to like fact check that a little bit. But I love seeing that level of creativity. I love seeing how those experiences in real life translate to what a creative puts out. So it sounds to me, because I had a theory once I was learning about you guys, I had a theory, knowing what the album was going to entail, knowing where you come from. My theory was that some of it is just Florida's death metal history and the fact that for bands from your area, clearly that is not a subject that is shied away from. And I thought this is just another example of another Floridian death metal band doing the same thing. But you're saying, no, it's deeper because it's sort of based on everything we're learning as we're getting these stories on the road too.
Right. Well, I think we all would like to think so that it's different.
Yeah.
Outside
influence.
I don't want to name drop, but I mean, a musician from this area in a very big death metal band. Of course, there are quite a few of them. I mean, I've been friends with him for a while, and Talk to Me is like one of the things that he liked about our band is that we're not trying to be the 18th version of his band.
Got it.
Yeah.
That we are trying to do things differently, and that's why that's why when he hasn't been on tour, he's come to our shows and checked us, seen us and stuff, and
nice.
He liked it that we're trying to be different, instead of like not another clone of what his band is.
Did he specify like what it was that caught his attention musically?
The fact that even the vocals are, even though they're a style of death metal, but they are legible. that that our lyric content isn't just focus, is on a kind of higher intellectual than gore and violence. Even musically, that we kind of, even though it is heavy, we do kind of have a song structure of verses and choruses and things like that. So it's not like we're trying to throw 50 riffs in one song and then somehow it just magically ends.
Music theory, believe it or not, is a little bit important, at least.
Yeah. I mean, the three of us have all studied it, so we communicate that way in our writing process.
Okay, it makes total sense. So it's not you could argue that there's some of it that's natural, but it certainly wasn't the intention to fly the flag floor death metal like from Florida. This isn't a passing of the torch necessarily, because that might not have been your intention when Blood of Angels came to be, but some of it naturally happened, and then now you're getting some credibility for still finding your own version of what that looks like too.
Yeah, well, I mean, the whole thing when I began the band, and it's wonderful to have these two gentlemen to work with that are here with me, because they're incredible and creative musician, in their own right. That the idea, it was not to we love many different genres of metal.
Yeah.
I mean, we're fans of Napalm Death, as well as we are Cradle of Filth, as well as we are Cannibal Corpse and Obituary, as much as we are Iron Maiden, as much as we are
Behemoth.
Fear Factory, and Behemoth, and so we love the gamut of a lot of different subgenres, and we felt the idea is, why stick to one thing completely?
Yes.
Why can't we do a song at 300 BPM and the next song be like something like Typo Negative and Doom? It's I mean, it's all it's all metal, and we kind of do that in our shows. We have one show we play Blood of the Lamb, which is a song that's extremely at 300 BPM with a breakdown, and everything. And then and then we close it out with our newest single, Nevermore, which is an almost 8-minute long, kind of doom and basically a doom metal song that shows our influences of our love for My Dying Bride, Sleep, and Typo Negative.
Yes. That's on my alley. I'm a doom girl.
Say, man, because I've had a musician, I mean, a very good band here that never, not going to mention names, but I mean, it's a doom metal band, and I had a conversation with him, and he talked about like, yeah, man, I love to do some faster songs, but we're a doom metal band, and I'm like, why not do the
right?
Do an 8-10 minute, do a couple doom and then throw one, I mean, balls full. I mean, why do you have to? Well, we're a doom metal band, so we have to fit. Everything has to fit in this box. I just never really understood that, and I mean, with the diversity of these two gentlemen, I mean, I mean, Maggot's ability to throw an incredible funk style and slap bass work, and Jonathan's jazz background. I mean, it's great to work with these guys in that capacity to, for broad and more open.
I love that, and I do want to point out the visualizer for Nevermore is badass. Just calling back to that, I did
thank
think
you so much. Yeah.
I did think it was pretty cool. Are we going to get a video for it? Is my next question.
Yeah, we will. Yes. We will sometime in the future.
We've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I just want to talk about the genre blending of it all a little bit too, because I don't know how many know this, don't know this, whatever, but you've been around for a minute, at least 10 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like,
it'll be 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been around for a minute, and the genre blending and the genre switching, all those switch ups, very normal today in music, just in general.
It's what catches people's ears. Yeah.
It does catch people's ears. Like today, I don't know that anybody looks at it as though it's this unfathomable thing. 10 years ago, would you have said the same thing?
Yeah.
Would we have said the same thing? I don't know.
I would have. I wanted to try to do this style. I wanted to be a versatile metal band. I didn't want to be pigeonholed as one style metal. So whenever he actually called me to come do a part of it, he already knew who I was, so he knew what I was bringing to the table.
Period.
And I totally wanted it to be. I wanted to be able to put some slap into it. I wanted to be able to run the scales. You know, what I'm saying, as a bass player, I wanted to stand out and make it completely different as a bassist.
Oh, he does. And then, I mean, there's certain moments in the song, like Blood of Lamb in the chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you really go town with like this 3-octave arpeggio and a slap pop at the end. And it's great. I love it when we go into the chorus the first time, because all of a sudden I see the heads of the entire room like shift right over to where he is on stage.
There's your sign.
Like, what is that? You know, and like everybody starts going over to that side of the room, and I'm like,
from the 90s, I like that Infectious Grooves. I love Robert Trujillo. I think he's fucking one of the best bass players.
Hell yeah.
Like that style. I think that it's terrible that he ended up with Metallica because they're holding him back.
What?
Am I allowed to say that?
There's your hot take.
That's a hot take, because see, for me, I'm glad that Rob is in Metallica, because that was where my awareness of him like originated, and then I could backtrack to Suicidal Tendencies and everything else. Yeah. Then I got my history lesson after. Yeah.
Infectious Grooves, that was his thing from in the 90s after Suicidal, and that to me was one of the things that opened up my mind to like not being like a one track metal band.
Got it.
They had the versatile. He threw that funk style on top of it, and they were 80s metal. You know, what I'm saying,
right?
Stuff, so it wasn't quite as gritty as us, but
he was Flea before Flea.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if Red Hot Chili Peppers were heavier distortion, more metal, I think that's what Infectious Grooves was.
Argument can be made.
They blended blues and jazz and funk,
everything.
You know, they totally had that whole fusion thing going.
Everything very like I just watched the documentary that they put out about Hillel not too long ago, about that him and all the early years of Chili Peppers, and I had no idea they worked with George Clinton, and I was like, well, shit, there it is. There's the funk element.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love Parliamentary. Yeah, Parliament Funkadelic. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. And
God, I love George Clinton. I've only gotten to see him live once, but
I never have. But like, I'm glad that I grew up with boomer parents that was like, that was their music in the club, like that was their thing. So that's how I got like exposed to it, because they were still listening to it. And then I'm starting to see, oh, this bass line, that bass line, this bass line. This is where a lot of it is coming from. Also, I want to shout out Rex Brown and Pantera for Infectious Grooves and carrying that into the 90s. Like, that man can do it too.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, Rex was awesome.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he had to play with Dime, so Jesus,
hard.
You know, and there was no rhythm guitar to hide behind, like you know, like you. You know, there's no rhythm guitar to hide behind. You know, and that's why we do kind of keep it a one guitar band, you know, because I mean, so his bass really shines through 100% because what he does is amazing.
Yeah, the bass is that important to the sound overall.
Yeah.
And you're right. Sometimes it's a production decision, a live show decision, whatever. Sometimes it can get buried, but I do appreciate acts that make sure, hey, we've got a good mix here. We've got a good mix on everything and we can hear everything. So tell me about when Blood of Angels, as it stands now, first came together. Was everybody pretty much in mutual agreement that, oh, this is going to work? Or did it take some time to feel everything out and make sure this was going to last?
Rise of the Fallen Gods, our first release in 2017, just a 3-song EP. It was originally supposed to be a full-length album covering different mythologies of different cultures, but everybody that I was working with at the time split off and did different things. So I just released the 3 songs as it was, and I had a friend who was managing us, even from LA. And, you know, we said, also like, okay, well, let's do an animated video for Odin's Wrath, and we'll put out Odin's Wrath and see what happens. And then I put it up for the Independent Music Award in New York City. And, you know, he got nominated. So, of course, I get to New York City, won for Best Metal Hardcore Song in the Independent Music Awards. Nice. 2,500 submissions, you know, we won. And after that, I started getting messages through my social media about management and, you know, and record deals and booking agents, and all these people came out of the woodwork after the award win. And it's like, okay, time to put together a serious band. There's actually something here instead of just, me doing a studio thing.
Right.
So, and I mean, I mean, these two guys were the first I hit up. I hit up Jonathan, and I started working with him, he and I, on drums. And then when we had about five, I wanted to get like five, six of the new songs down with him. And then, and then it was easier for Maggot to come in and do his thing.
I learned fast.
Yep. He learns incredibly fast. What this man can do in an hour, most people take weeks to learn.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he picks up quickly. He watches. He's got. I can't say enough about this.
I'm
guy.
a monkey see, monkey do. If I can see where your fingers are going, I'll copy you.
Besides that, he's got that he undoubtedly has perfect pitch.
Oh,
he really does. I mean, he can hear something and he finds the perfect octave to it, like right off. Where some people have to go, okay, you're playing on the 5th fret, so I got to go up to the 17th if I want. No, not him. He's just, this is where it is. Yeah.
That's a lot of sleeping with my bass.
You got to know her. You got to know her.
And then when we decided to move on. We tried making it work with Chris. It wasn't going to work. We tried to move on with him, and a friend of Jonathan's we're like in the rehearsal room. And Randy was there, and we're talking about, where to look for, a new vocalist. And Randy was like, well, can I try out? And I was like, okay, cool. And he did like a karaoke version of a Mushroom Head song, singing kind of both vocal parts, and he did really well. And, I was like, well, dude, if you want the gig, and that was about 8 years ago now with us. And it's been an incredible ride since then. I mean, we came out with A Failure of Faith in 2020. We toured all over the United States with that. Then we kind of did the single Spillage. Well, we put out the single Spillage because it was a couple years in between, figured a new song. I submitted that to the Hollywood Independent Music Awards. We got nominated. Then we went out there and we won for Best Metal Song. So, out in Hollywood at the Avalon Theater. And yeah, that was incredible, especially the after party and the red carpet experience and everything. There's very many Grammys. We got a lot of stories with that. I don't want to ramble on too much. And, and then we worked on this album. Les Agnst Thanatou, originally the idea was supposed to be out last year, which was why, we kicked off with it. We were going to kick off the album release with a European tour. But, things got in the yeah, well, it did, because we hired a lawyer at the time to solicit at the record label. So I was giving him an opportunity to work that angle. But then the European tour was coming up, and I didn't want to push that back. So we went ahead and just did it anyway.
You were doing a lot at once. My God.
Yeah, here we are. Second full-length album release. And then we're looking to do Midwest U.S. dates coming up in August.
Okay, well, you're in the right place. Hi, Minnesota. We're here.
Yes.
Yep. So that's great. We are. We love that. And we've got a lot of interesting history here, too, for you to check out. You're definitely not the first band in history to talk about what it's like to navigate changing in lineups and, creating maybe a new band after the aftermath of the dissolution of a previous band. So some of that, perhaps we could argue, involves a little bit of mourning, involves a little grief. Maybe that played into the upcoming album. Is that part of where this comes from? Or are we touching on the subject of grief maybe a little bit more generally?
Touching on the subject of grief a little more generally. I mean, I would say that probably for the last album, the Failure of Faith album, probably that's so. But I mean, when like I said, I mean, we've been the same lineup for about 8 years now, and we've toured together, lived together, smelled each other's feet in a crowded van.
That's enough, yeah.
And after enduring all that, still together, still making music together.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's a testament. I mean, the grief that's really, I mean, in this album is it definitely, I think, to a certain degree, it stems from what we all went through during the pandemic and the COVID, the COVID crisis. Because I mean, we released our last album during the pandemic, but and just a relation of the things that bring us together. Death is something, no matter we all experience for a walk of life. We'll all experience it ourselves. It's inevitable. and individually, but we also go through loss, life experiencing loss of the ones we love. There's unfortunately, there's just no avoiding that, one form.
Yeah.
So to me, this is the album. This album is really about that process, the different rituals that we do to say goodbye to one another. Culturally, that changes per culture. And that's really kind of like the foundation of the album itself.
How do we survive after death enters our world? How do we get through it?
Vices in some cases.
Well, yeah, not necessarily the healthiest way to do it, but yeah, very true though. Yeah. My personal take, the inner strength within yourself.
Mm.
And which unfortunately, I mean, I feel is kind of lacking in the general basis of the society we live in today, sadly. And not to any fault of their own, but I think unfortunately the youth. I mean, neither of the three of us are young men anymore. We grew up in a different time of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, get back out there. And I would say that was in the discourse of a lot of the music and a lot of the metal we listened to.
Right.
There was always that idea of self-reliance, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, get over it. That was yesterday. Keep fighting, keep going. And after a loss, of course, mourning is natural, sadness is natural. You have to do that. But what I think
break you down and wear you down, but at the same time, you can still get on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think within finding your inner strength within yourself to keep going and to keep fighting and not let the depression win.
That's the key, not staying there, because if it's hard. It's hard for some people. There are some people that do end up in that pit, and it's just you get to a point where you feel like you can't pull yourself out, and sometimes you need those confidence boosters, whatever you want to call it. So you need something to kind of give you that motivation. For you, I would imagine that had to be the awards that we were talking about a little bit ago.
Yeah, it did. I mean, that's what kind of pushed a little bit to go. Okay, I guess I got something. We got something here that's really good. Now I need my brothers here who have known these guys for years to, that are really good. That we have a great relationship. To come in and take it as far as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, of course it wasn't expected. I mean. I know from the back of the theater, definitely after the even after the Hollywood Independent Music Award, I'm sure you can hear me scream "fuck" from all the way to the front row.
Because you couldn't believe it.
As I'm running down the aisle, my beloved wife, was there for both experiences, capturing it on video. Oh. And and I mean, we're up on the balcony of the second level, and with the Hollywood Independent Music Award, they had it on the big screen, and they had the metal category and all the 5 nominees, and then it went fade to black, and it said the winner is, and then it was our Spillage cover, and the song came on, and Blood of Angel Spillage. I mean the videos on our social media. Anyone wants to check it out, and I was just like,
surreal.
Yeah, I was just. I mean, I ran down the first row, and people were cool, slapping high, people were just cool, congratulatory and everything. And I grabbed Randy's head. I'm like, we fucking did it! And each other's hugs, and it's like, oh my god, And then it's like, okay, what do we do? Now we got to go downstairs and we go do the winners interview and all that stuff. And it's like,
such a good moment.
And one of the things that was cool was and I'll just say it's always great to be a winner at the after party.
Let's talk about those after parties. Give me your favorite moment or maybe most memorable one.
Just meeting some Grammy-winning producers. A lot of them were voters in it. And, talking to other people. Anybody who was a winner was in a celebratory mood. So we got photos with other artists and other people. And the drinks were flowing and the DJs were loud and. I mean, it was really cool, it was really great being winners at a Hollywood after party.
Yeah.
like everything you can imagine it would be. Yeah, it's not the Grammys, but they sure as hell turned it up. It was an incredible.
Well,
they definitely did it. They definitely did it like it was. I mean, with the probably like of course with the A-list celebrities probably at the Grammys, I think that was the only thing that was missing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, at the very least,
the open bar, the liquor flowing, everything top shelf booze.
Right.
Great. And then afterwards, after the party was over, we were all getting kicked out after a couple hours. I would have to say it felt really good doing, because our hotel was on Hollywood Boulevard, only about a mile away.
Wow.
So it was really cool doing a victory walk, like coming to LA and winning and doing a victory walk, over the Walk of Fame and the stars of Hollywood, just, yeah.
Feeling like we did this. And I mean, the drink is the cherry on the top, but I mean, and at the very least, it's networking. Hello. Sounds like you did a little bit of that.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. We're still in touch with a lot of those people. So.
Yeah, worth your time regardless. It's just for the stories. I'd go just for the stories if it were me. Just for the stories after.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the experiences we've had is, we can definitely say that.
So that probably sounds like it had to be your most rock star moment so far.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Definitely at the top.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, getting interviewed by E! Entertainment Television and the Hollywood Minute and all these various podcasts. I mean, I never thought we'd get interviewed for a fashion podcast, but that was part of the red carpet thing. Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget. Like we went on the red carpet and we went on the initial photography area, and there was like a line of photographers. Click, flash. It was great. It was also wonderful. My wife was able to get in behind them and get some great shots of us too on the red carpet for our own promo. And then we did an interview with a guy that does the TV show The Hollywood Minute. So that was kind of cool. I think we probably ended up airing because we were one of the winners. And we got our interview aired. And then I'll never forget. We afterwards we had this young lady and well dressed young lady. I'll never forget. Her name was Bree, and she's like, "Hello, my name is Bree, and I'm assigned to take you to all your other interviews and your other photo stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is fucking cool." So we had an escort, so she took us to the fashion guy, and one of the things I love because Randy dressed great. He looked really good with the sunglasses, the mohawk, and the suit and everything. And one of the greatest lines I think was the fashion guy asked him, like, "What are you wearing?" Because there were some people in the hip hop categories, you could tell they whipped out their credit card for Gucci and and all. I mean, they were the pop. The people in the pop category trying to look like they were in a dress that Beyonce would wear. And he looks at him and he goes, "Amazon."
In all seriousness, Amazon.
He did buy his outfit off of Amazon.
What else do you say?
In all seriousness, Amazon. And the guy was like, "Oh, you look fabulous though."
Post album release, what does the future look like for Blood of Angels?
That'll definitely happen in a few years though. No, I mean, we got a festival, the Tampa Hardcore Boom, right? That's here in Tampa. We're one of the headlining bands, so we're excited and happy about that. And then we'll be hitting the Midwest, starting in Michigan, August 13th, with another Tampa band with us. They'll be in support, Skin Harvest. They're a really good band. So that'll be an awesome tour. They'll start in Grand Rapids, Michigan, August 13th. And then we end that in Nashville on August 30th. We'll be also getting ready. We're looking to go to Mexico in February, do a few dates in Mexico, a couple in Mexico City and Monterrey, and then for next year, and then hit the West Coast. There's a possibility in June, maybe July, of doing a UK tour. We've talked about my recent conversation with our management. Of course, none of that's definite yet, but it's in the works. And then want to do and then hit the East Coast of the United States next fall, basically what I call Miami to Maine. fall to 95.
Right.
95 up, 75 home.
Pretty much. I got it. I'm just glad. I'm glad you're doing the Midwest in August and not January. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
No, we don't tour during that time. It's a little too dangerous. I mean, roads wise, to be out there in winter.
Literally.
It just is.
Literally.
Yeah, basically, I cut off touring like Halloween, and then not really until March started looking at doing dates again. I mean, going to Mexico in February, I mean, that's fine.
I feel.
I mean, the weather will actually be bearable in February because I've been there in November before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there in the middle of November before in Mexico, and it's like 95 degrees.
It's so crazy. That's one country I've never been to, but I would like to cross off my bucket list. But I don't think I would do Mexico the same way most people do. Like, sure, I might enjoy a beach like one day, but I kind of want to see the ruins and like the old like Mayan stuff.
Yeah,
well, that'll be a thing we're doing. I mean, that's definitely on the agenda because even though we'll only do about 3 dates, two in Mexico City, one in Monterey. But we are going to go for like a whole week, and see some things. Like I do want to see, I know near Mexico City, there's like a whole area of Aztec, the pyramids from the main Aztec era, But I've been down there before, and have gone to Chichen Itza, and that was where the Mayans were, at the time, and that was incredible pyramids and the hoop game.
Right.
Court area, where that, where that hoop is like 200 feet long. I don't know if it's that high.
I have no hope.
It's really high in the air where, I mean, it makes NBA look,
it really does. Like, I file that under things I have no business doing at 5'1". Like that, like, the things I have no business doing, that running track, anything like that, like things I have no business doing.
Days, I mean, moving around a stage is about as much as my knees can handle anymore.
But you do it. Well, speaking of moving about, I just asking for my own curiosity, are the tariffs making touring harder? Because it doesn't sound like it's stopping you. We're still going everywhere.
Well, I mean, the costs are going up. We're pretty economically savvy. The tariffs, no, I mean they didn't really affect the European tour.
Okay.
I mean it stayed within the budget that I thought it would be. But of course, we've since that was in September of last year. We do have a war with Iran right now, which is putting the squeeze on everybody right now. So
yeah,
I think we're gonna have to tighten our belts in certain places to make August happen. Because we do keep our admissions low. To come to our show, basically what we charge is whatever the minimum, and I'm planning on keeping control of this throughout our career, is whatever the minimum wages of that state. Because
okay.
And the reason why it changes per state, like for example, we'll play, say we'll play in Ohio for $8, $8 a head.
Yeah, because it hasn't changed.
But when we do go out west and play in California, we do need to charge their minimum wage of $25 a person. Why? Because California is $8 a gallon gas, where Ohio is not as expensive.
Right.
I mean, to get a hotel room where you don't have roaches crawling all over you in California, you got to spend at least $350 a night. Where a good $70-$80 in Ohio will get you a good clean room. So so we do adjust accordingly to the economy of the state. But but that's what we do. I mean, whatever the minimum wage of that state is, that's what the price of admission is, because I feel no one needs to work more than an hour of their life to come out and enjoy a metal show.
So this is something you're obviously passionate about, or are you watching other bands do kind of their own version of the same thing?
No, this is something I'm very passionate about. I mean, I never really noticed if other bands are doing the same thing. I mean, I've been to some shows at clubs where some bands are charging like $25 to get in,
right.
and things like that, and and I mean, and that's not bad either. But what I try to do, and what we're going to try to always do in our career, is to keep to keep control of our touring business and our admission prices and our ticket prices. It's one of the things we negotiate with the venue before we go into it.
Which is a whole other episode in itself, I'm sure. But it's a lot. But that comes from just paying attention to current events and being average guys yourself. Like you're on the street,
Exactly. I mean, we're 4 blue collar guys from Florida.
Right.
That's what we are. We don't come from rich families. You know, which is why certain opportunities have passed us by due to the wonderful buy-on culture that unfortunately is in the music business, and that's another topic.
Yeah.
Being asked to pay 15,000 for the opportunity to go open for somebody.
If it was a buy-on that was actually worthy, but these guys are crazy.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, the buy-on's kind of worthy, but I mean, we pay 15,000. Well, that's true. Yeah. Some of them are for bands that we know that sometimes they're asking for that, and we know there's not you're not going to get more than a couple hundred people, and to charge us $500 a show on a tour, that's just crazy.
It's a lot. And
one
then
of the other things I speak out against, which I think has gotten me in trouble a little bit, but I'm honest, and
you're definitely not the first musician to say it, though. I mean, everybody talks about the gatekeepy elements that have come about just because of streaming and downloads and how involved that is. Like, I've heard of instances where you need at least 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify just to be recognized to even hop on a tour.
Yes.
That type of thing. Like, which as a fan, I'm not a musician. So as a fan, I'm learning all this and going, wow.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations through our management, conference calls, and be like, yeah, man, we really like your music, and the band really likes your music, and thinks you guys are awesome, man. I'd love to give you the opportunity to come open. And I'm like, all right, my manager did his job, and then the end of the conversation is like, all right, so I'll go ahead and give you the routing number and the account number. If you could just forward us 15 grand, we'll go ahead and get you on the tour. And I'm like,
oh boy, yeah.
15 grand, that's a car that I pay over 6 years in my world.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but no.
Money doesn't come from where it used to.
Yeah.
Like, that was my down payment on my 3-bedroom ranch in Minnesota.
And you know what? And I can understand that if we're not good enough as a band, okay, we'll work to be better. If we're not big enough, we're still building our marketing. We only have so much money to market ourselves with, but we'll keep plugging away and keep pushing and keep getting bigger. All those reasons to not be on a tour. Okay, fine. I can respect that, and we'll take that constructive criticism, and we'll work on being a better band and being better and more popular. But the reason that we don't have the opportunity to tour for a big band because I can't fork over $15,000 to you. Fuck you.
Yeah. There's something. There's something.
That's why we just started. It's like, you know what? We'll just do our own thing. We'll headline, in the small clubs, and we'll just generate it from the underground.
Right. For a lot of bands, it's a DIY situation. A lot of artists, it's a DIY situation because it's almost forced anymore with the way things are currently. But I love to see you getting through it all. I cannot wait for the upcoming album. Super stoked for that, and super stoked to see you in our neck of the woods later this year ish.
Yes.
In the Midwest. So
yes,
can't wait for tour. Thank you so much, gentlemen, all of you. Aaron, Jonathan, Maggot, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.